You are standing at the doorstep of heaven, where the gatekeeper asks, do you possess any guilt? Or you have lived your life the way you wished to build. Guilt was so evident on your face that you could not answer but only reflect. Innocence, anger, revenge, all the negative emotions, that you lived your life on what it was based. Oh, come on. At least now, accept. You had all the time in the world to nurture this relationship. You loved that person, but you didn't value them enough. When the time is lost, don't regret for things. The gatekeeper asks, can you answer me? Now, why the guilt? You had time to resolve your misunderstandings, to hug your lost friends or people you were in conflict with. You carried the burden of not taking actions. Hence, even in your best moments, you couldn't breathe. Can you tell me now why the guilt? Your first love, your wife, your child, your parents, your family, and friends. Everything was amendable, but you didn't initiate. Now the time is gone, some for them, some for you. You are left with only regret now. You did what you had to. Then, now why the guilt? If guilt was permanent, the devil in the hell wouldn't have made it a point of punishment. Every man is guilty of all the good he did not do. When you are about to leave the earth, it's not up to you to decide to go to heaven or to hell. But it's up to you to rework on your relations while you are living this life and make it fulfilled with a feeling of accomplishment. Then I'm sure you would sense heaven while you are still alive. No regret, no shame, and definitely no guilt. Hey guys, welcome back on Vritvi Talks. Today's topic is about guilt. An emotion that doesn't help you live peacefully is guilt. You must have heard about guilty people going to hell and all that. Or you have heard about people wanting to confess their bad deeds only because now they have lost the time to accept and work on amending it while still being on earth living the gift of life. But what exactly is guilt? Let's take a deep dive into it. You can feel guilty for millions of reasons. For stealing, for cheating, for not being polite enough to somebody, for not being available when the other one needed you, for not understanding someone's feelings in time, or for saying something extremely hurtful, or for losing a loved one over a misunderstanding. Guilt is one hell of an emotion which doesn't let you live with peace at all. So much so that you might actually feel the pain taking over your body as well, and not just the mind. An emotion which gives thousand sleepless nights that doesn't let you fill your appetite as well. The one that gets you cold feet. Krishna says, guilt weakens the soul just as pain weakens the body. Well, guilt, regret, anger, sadness are all emotions of remorse. And nothing feels deeper than the pain that gallops you entirely. And all these emotions are correlated to each other. The source of guilt is often anger or ego. Don't you think so? We often say a lot of things in anger which we eventually regret later. And we get angry because somebody said something that triggered your ego, or you got hurt for the same thing. Then you must have felt regretful or sad because you realized that you shouldn't have done that earlier at the first go. No amount of guilt can change the past. No amount of worrying can change the future. It's an emotion that will crush you whether you deserve it or not. Don't forget, you can always say no to someone who doesn't serve or treat you good, and you really don't need to feel guilty about it. Sometimes setting boundaries is also important. It's not necessary to feel guilty when it's not required. If we have done something really wrong, we often wake up in the midnight and feel like saying or talk to self, like, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. My dear, what has happened cannot be changed. But you get to choose on how you respond to it in the future or maybe in the present. Because it's not always what the other person or people said about you or to you. It's about what you think about you. Now, how to understand guilt? How is it related to your anger? The two most toxic emotions of human race are guilt and shame. While the most therapists of the world describe them as cousins, like both are correlated to each other, while guilt serves the ego, shame kind of mellows it down. While guilt is more like feeling bad for not doing a thing or doing something wrongful, shame is more like a repercussion of our deeds that could result into self-sabotaging. With the noises in your head that say out loud, I'm not good, I'm awful, I'm wrong, and so on, till it results into a low self-worth. Hence, knowing this difference is at most important so as to look for solutions to address it smoothly. Would your doctor prescribe a medicine without diagnosing the problem? Not really, right? Here are some points to overcome this negative emotion and not feeling stuck in the same loop. Number 1, identify the reason. Go back to that incident and try to know what was the trigger point. Reflect upon it and identify. Address the issue that okay, you have an ego trigger problem or a certain way of talking or tonality is what you don't like being spoken as, or whatever your reason of guilt may be. And that's why you reacted in that particular way. So now that you have realized it, you know it. And that's an achievement in itself. Point number 2, take responsibility of it and acknowledge it. Own it to heal it. Since you addressed the issue, now accept it. If you wish to amend the broken conversation or the situation, that the first step comes from acceptance by taking full responsibility of your behavior and a will to work towards it. Point number 3, forgive yourself first and then apologize. Amendments start from apologizing for the said because, yes, words do hurt a lot. Even though said words in the intensity of that situation cannot be reversed, one can always medicine it with the ointment of apology. But you can apologize positively to the other person only after you have forgiven yourself first. Be modest and forgive yourself. Don't pity. Just say to yourself, yeah, I did this. That doesn't make me a bad person. It's okay, dear me. I'm a human. I did a mistake. Now I'm open to rectifying it. And I'm genuinely sorry for my doings. Right after this, you will see a shift in your confidence to converse with the other person. Point number 4, learn from your mistakes. Now that you have done your amends, reflect on the entire cycle of events and learn from your mistakes. Not repeating your mistake of losing control over your anger or not taking action within time can give a sense of inner calm to you. After all, self-satisfaction is the best thing that happens to a human mind, right? Point number 5, practice gratitude. Be thankful for a few experiences. Be thankful for your realizations. Be thankful for people who forgave you, for not being stuck in the negative emotion of guilt. Be thankful to yourself for not being too harsh on yourself and accepting your flaws, and for moving ahead. Because you don't have to move on with it, you have to move ahead through it. Dear listeners, don't be burdened by the weight of guilt. You know what the problem is, and accept that only you can resolve it. You cannot shy away from your emotion, so own up to it. And then see how powerful is this journey from guilt to gratitude. There is a famous saying that goes, we each begin innocent. We all become guilty by the end. So, it's okay to feel what you feel. My message to you here is all emotions are important to live through in a life given to us by the Almighty. Just don't be too stuck in the loop of negative emotions and live to your fullest with all your heart in the positive ones. Okay, so while this marks the end of season 1 of Vritvi Talks, I would like to express my gratitude to a few people in my life, my closed ones, my family, my team, and last but not the least, my honest and loyal listeners who made this season even more valuable to me. I, Jio Saavn, will be back soon with season 2, where we shall talk about a lot more on work, business, and emotions as a whole. Till then, happy living people, take care.